guess I want to start by saying that the power of words, the power of art, we're finite, but art speaks across the ages. And here we are, and we may not be here tomorrow, but these words will travel and art will travel, and I think that's really powerful. So I made some notes, and I want to say first, language is our first technology. And if we don't face the country's history, if we don't face that it's based on white supremacy, and that the roots of racism and colonialism still carry on today, if we don't talk about the real history, then we're going to keep repeating these stories. The killing off of cultures, the languages, the people, the whole idea of discovery, of being discovered. We're on stolen land. This country was formed by stolen people. So then how do we face ourselves? How to think about our freedom as citizens in this country, how we share in the oppression, sharing in the good and the bad. When I think about the endless wars, this destroying of other economic systems, the toppling or trying to topple other cultures, countries, democratic elected leaders, these are things we need to face. There's Allende in Chile. If we teach the real history and the achievements, not just the tragedies of other people and other cultures, Aztecs for zero, the medicinal plants of other cultures, the cultural contributions all over the world. If we can look at that and really face the truth of our country and what we've done and what we continue to do, then we can maybe turn. And then sometimes I teach poetry. And I tell the kids, how long have we actually been free? Those of us that are children of people of color. And are we really free? We're still operating within a racist system. I mean, this is a system. This is not just a country, this is a system. And just recently this week, the University of Wisconsin in Madison, they're going to unveil the hidden KKK history of that university. And I think we need to keep doing that. We need to keep showing a light on all this stuff. And it's not just in Milwaukee, and it's not just in Madison, it's not just in Iowa where I'm from, it's all over. When I think of the dehumanization of others in Syria and Iraq and Palestine, and how we don't speak out, and then we just go on, and like in the play, we have our coffee, we have our tea, we're comfortable. And I think about the war machine that we are as a country and how profitable it is to make war, to lock up people, than it is to let them live freely. I think about how we need to interrogate our current practices. You can think about the over-incarceration in Milwaukee. You can think about how our drug laws affect certain members of our society, people of color. People don't have good representation. If you have money, you can get away with certain things, but not all. Think about our parole system, how corrupt it is, how it keeps punishing people even after they've served their time. There's a great movie called 53206. If you don't know it, I would watch it. It focuses on Milwaukee. When I travel around and I look at freeways, and all the freeways were somehow built in every single city in the communities of color, right? You had thriving businesses, thriving communities, and that's where the freeway went in. And that's not accidental. That happened all over the country. And those jobs haven't been replaced. I mean, these are truths. These are not things I'm making up. And unfortunately, those communities have never recovered. The jobs, the businesses, the pride. And then sometimes I think we're doing pretty good considering all the things that are trying to keep us down. How we sometimes let outside forces dictate how we feel about others or ourselves. As a young person growing up in Des Moines, Iowa, being a second and third generation Mexican, I had to let go of other people's ideas of who I am and what I can achieve. You sometimes have to do that. You just have to think for yourself and have pride in your own skin. I went to public schools in Des Moines, and they were supported by the governor there. And I think about all those good teachers I had who instilled in me the basics. And part of that, too, was how to be a good person. I remember people would come and they'd say things disparaging about those of us who went to public school. And to be clear, I had the option to go to a private Catholic school, and I chose not to because I wanted to be with my friends, and they didn't have that same opportunity. So I want to go back to what serves our community and the power of art and words to connect and the stories we tell. I think about a writer who said, your purpose is to connect, only to connect. And I think about Howard Zinn, who says you can only see progress if you look back 100 years. And the fact that we're all here watching this play and having these conversations, that's progress. That we can look at our ugliness and say, these are the things that we need to fix. Not now, necessarily, maybe they'll get fixed, but in the future. What is our legacy that we're gonna leave? And I think about the environmental violence that we commit and the violence that is inherent in our world. And to get at the root of those things, you really gotta examine them. Why are we like this? So I'm gonna close with a poem because I was thinking of all the ways that I can respond. And you're all here because you care. So I'm gonna leave you with a poem, and I don't know if I'm over, so hopefully I'm not. But I have a nephew in Chicago, and he wants to be a policeman. And this poem came out of that. Binaries. 1. Niece colors at barn door table. Smiles, looks at her brother drawing Batman and Robin, good guys, bad guys. She smiles to say, look at me, look at us, I am coloring. Black curls, size of frozen juice cans jostle when her chubby arms scribble red and yellow. Her brother calls her Chuck. Her real name is Raven, my youngest sister's daughter. Before she was born, her dad dreamed her tall with good hair. Strands more Mexican than Puerto Rican, straight and fine black silk, her mother's long tresses. My nephew's hair shows his African roots like his father's. Henry and Raven, Hank and Chuck, green eyes jewel both their faces. We dine at Cafe Con Leche. Hear the origins of Chuck. Batman shrank Robin to save the day, called him his little Chuckamacca before he made him normal size. Justice prevailed in less than a half hour. My nephew loves bears to packers, bulls to bucks, policemen and firemen who saved the day. Once on the playground, he shared on the bars he wanted to be a policeman. I said, we can talk about that later. He said, Grandma doesn't like them either. He knows he is 6. Binary columns work for his brain right now. I think about his light afro, how many men with his hair texture spend birthdays behind bars, rot in holes, shake hands with the death penalty, swung from trees like strange fruit for entertainment. He will know this later. I push him on the swing, instruct him to go higher. Pump your legs, keep your knees pressed together, lean back, use your core strength to the moon and back. Playground people stare and chuckle. I watch him finish color Batman and Robin across the table. Black and blue crayons melt in his caramel hands. Thank you.